Hey, this is Kiran Agrahar from the Sparking Entrepreneur Show, and today we have Angilie Kapoor with us. Angilie empowers managers to become true leaders by awakening and unleashing their inner phenomenal leader and their fullest potential. She is a leadership coach, author, speaker, and the founder of Oversight Global. With that said, let's welcome our today's guest, Angilie Kapoor. Angilie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So wonderful to be here with you.
Wonderful to speak with you. Tell us about the transition that you made from medical profession to the coaching profession and what got you started in coaching.
I was originally in healthcare for a little over 20 years. And in healthcare, I pretty much climbed the corporate ladder. I went from a very entry level position as a receptionist to the second in command at the company that I was in the time that I left the healthcare industry. And really, what had me pivot to coaching was, being a manager and becoming a leader. I really enjoyed the aspect of coaching and mentoring the staff that I had on my team. And so, when I decided to go ahead and kind of go a different direction, I really followed my passion for coaching and mentoring and just helping people, giving them the support that they needed to be successful in whatever ways that they wanted to be successful in. I chose leadership coaching to specialize in specifically because I did have a very long management and leadership career in healthcare. And so I felt like I, gained a lot of experience, knowledge, and insight in that field. And so that's what I felt that I could help people in, specifically people who are in management and leadership positions in the workplace. But also, I have also found that it also transitions very well to people who are wanting to be entrepreneurs or who are entrepreneurs. It's basically the same path and journey and transformation. It just has different aspects. It's much like, even though I worked in healthcare, I can work with managers and leaders in different industries like hospitality and technology, because again, there's similarities in the journey, but there's just different aspects when it comes to the industry. So
Yes, totally. The leadership at its core is similar,
right.
while the outgrowths are different. Let's speak about the client success stories. Something that you are really proud of after you became a coach or after so many clients that you might have had. Anything that is on the top of the mind, tell us about.
Yeah, I'm just always, even again, I've been coaching for around 3 years. I got out of healthcare in 2019. And even though, I've been doing this for a few years, I am always just so excited. And so it's so heartwarming and heartfelt when, I do get to witness somebody's journey from being in a place where they come to me and they're struggling, they're frustrated, they're just kind of at this point where they're really hopeless and they don't know what to do. And then, us being in a partnership together, we work together to address the challenges that they're having and the things that they need to overcome. And, I have the privilege to witness them, become more confident, become stronger, just improve their leadership skills, like their problem solving and their decision making, and watch them, have these small wins and small successes and gain this momentum to where, they start just thriving in their roles and also in life. I think it's important to point out that leadership isn't just about, your professional career or what you're doing professionally. It's also about being a leader in your own life. So it's great how it really transcends that bridge, and it really becomes the skills that you gain and the growth that you have in your leadership journey not just helps you in the workplace or in your business, but also in life itself.
Totally, totally. I agree with you on that. And if I were to ask you about the leadership qualities that you admire the most, what are some qualities that makes a thriving leader?
Yeah, I've definitely found, and I definitely, admire in existing leaders that, we see in the news and on TV and stuff is, true leaders are ones that are really know themselves. Becoming self-aware and really getting to know who you are is a big part of your leadership transformation and becoming a true leader. And so, when you gain that strength, when you gain the knowledge of knowing yourself really well, become empathetic and you become humble and compassionate, and you're also very solid in knowing your core values as well as your priorities, and you have integrity when you do that. So those are the qualities and things that I admire in leaders, and also striving to help the people that I work with to reach that level.
Got it. Got it. And if you can now speak on a client transition. So if you can tell us about a hopeless client does not know what to do, does not have any idea,
Mhm.
to a point where you have helped them transform. So what are some of the steps, methodologies, tactics? What are some of those that you would use to make that happen?
Yeah, so I think it's important that people are aware that leadership is a journey and not a destination. So I say this a lot in all of my copy, is that just because you have a title of authority does not automatically mean that you're a leader. So again, that's a journey, that's a transformation that you have to go on in order to achieve and gain those qualities and abilities. And so, from working with different types of managers and different people in different positions of authority, like leads, supervisors, directors, things like that, I found that people are in different stages of their growth as a manager as well as a leader. And the same goes for being in business. And I can say this, myself, because I'm a business owner, and then also watching other business owners as well, is there are different stages that people go through in the growth process. Somebody who's new to a business or to a position of authority, when they first get into it, they're, what I call in crisis mode. Because number one, they're unprepared for the transition that's required when you go from being in a functional position like an employee to becoming somebody who's in a position of authority. It means that you have to transition and make the shift in how you approach things, your perspective, how you look at things. It's a completely different skill set, and in fact, it requires a completely different side of the brain. And it's and it also requires you to transition into a different mindset. And so there's that transition that people don't realize is there, that they need to become aware of and make that shift. And then also, when you're in a functional position like an employee, you're really kind of like you're narrow-minded in that you're kind of thinking of just yourself. You're only worried about how you are performing, and then the goals that you have. When you become part in a position of authority, you have responsibility over other people and other things, that you have to look at things in a broader sense. So that's where the stages start. And then for me in my program, I identify 7 different stages of growing as a manager and a leader. And at the top is what I call the visionary, or the servant to the world. And that's somebody who has gone through their growth process and becoming a leader, and has reached a point to where they're very solid in knowing who they are. They're very solid in having developed the skills needed to be an effective, empowering leader. And their focus is now, it's not on themselves or on their department or their organization. It's more global. So they really understand that there's an interconnectedness between all of us, and that, the decisions that, we make actually affect so much of a broader sense than what we even realize. And they have kind of reached the determination that they have a purpose, a bigger purpose and a bigger mission. And then so they, at that point, start working towards fulfilling that every day.
Of course. And the word that you used was visionary leader,
Mhm.
right? So can you please tell us how to make a move from the bottom of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid?
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, I didn't completely answer your question, I got so wrapped up in my stages, but, the things that people, that I walk people through in my program is that there are, in my program, there's 15 what I call 15 vital components that somebody needs to kinda climb this hierarchy, successfully, and those are things like, developing a leader mindset, which is why my book that I just released last week is called leader mindset activation. It actually goes through, making that shift in your mindset to start thinking like a leader. There's also components like having a clear role clarity as a leader, as well as the ability to create empowering routines and rituals for yourself. There's also things like, practicing gratitude, things like that. So, again, I have 15 different components that I walk with somebody through on my program that it essentially, helps them get to from kind of that starting point to, the highest point of being a visionary leader. And again, it's a journey. Everybody's journey is different, but it's all really about awareness, being conscious, and then creating and going through transformational change.
Yes, you mentioned the latest book just now. Can you please tell us about the previous book as well?
Yeah, so my previous book, which was released a couple years ago, was actually also a book on mindset, but it was more of a general introduction. It's called Mindset: The Power of the Mind. And so it's a nice introduction of what mindset is, why it's important. There's a lot one of the things that we're not taught in school is about the power of your mind. And so, we really kind of start to realize that as adults, and we're like, well, how come we were never taught this earlier? I would have, been able to do so much more if I just knew about it. And the power of the mind is so powerful. A lot of the times, a lot of people kind of walk around being controlled by their minds and they don't even realize it. And it's because of, our past experiences and as children and growing up, that we get stuck in these, our minds are really like this computer. We get stuck in these programs, and it's kind of stuck on autopilot, and we don't really realize that until later in life, and that we can actually take control of our minds, take that control back, and really harness the power to start using our minds to our advantage rather than having it work against us. And that's what my first book was. It was a general introduction into, what mindset is and where it came from and how you can shift your mindset. And then the second book that I just released last week is specifically called Leader Mindset Activation, which speaks to that component that I was talking about that I help people through in my coaching programs, to activate that mindset that is of a leader, so that they can start to embark on their personal journey to transitioning into a leader.
Yes, totally. A successful leader and an unsuccessful leader. Can you now tell us about the differences that you find in both of them? You mentioned some of the qualities of the successful leader,
Mhm.
but let's speak about the qualities one should not have uh, to become a successful leader. So qualities not to have. What not to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, qualities that a leader does not have is they don't have like negativity, and they're not focused on just themselves. They're not what I call inwardly focused. And that, in turn, when you look at somebody who is a leader, they are somebody who has figured out that there are some internal challenges that they need to address in order to alleviate the external challenges that they have. I talk about this a lot that especially for new managers or new leaders, there's a lot of external challenges that they complain about. Like they have a hard time making decisions or having difficult conversations or dealing with conflict. But really, if you really boil down and think about it, those external challenges are actually symptoms of your own internal challenges. So, for example, your inability to make decisions is because you are worried about wanting to please others instead of making the right decision. And then, when it comes to handling conflicts and having difficult conversations, it's kind of the same thing. You have you have a fear of having to tell somebody bad news, or you have a fear of getting into a conflict with somebody and kind of dealing with that negativity, which is hard because nobody wants to deal with negative stuff. But at the same time, that's rooted in the internal issues that you're having. So you're having those external issues because those are symptoms of things that you need to address internally. Um, and so I'm sorry, where were we going?
So we were speaking about the qualities not to have.
Yeah, so the qualities not to have is really, again, lots of negativity, lots of self-doubt, a low self-esteem, also being worried about what other people are thinking. A leader is going to be somebody who is really solid and rooted into their core values, and they know their priorities. So they're not really going to care what anybody else is going to think. They're also conscious and aware that people have different perspectives and are coming from seeing things in a different way. And being compassionate, empathetic about that. And again, they're a leader is going to be more outwardly having a more outwardly approach, as opposed to somebody who hasn't yet developed those type of skills, who is really more inwardly and is really thinking about themselves and worried about what people think of them and things like that.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much for clarifying that. What is the difference? Let's speak about the misconceptions. Misconceptions about coaching.
Yeah, misconceptions about coaching. So, some of the things that I run into in regards to coaching is that people think that it's it's you know especially for leaders and especially for entrepreneurs, I found is that they have this belief that it's not okay to ask for help. I know I was like that when I first started my business. It's you think that if you ask for help, it's a weakness. Or that, because you're starting your own business, you're supposed to know it all, right? But that's not, if you've never done anything, you're not going to know. And it's not something that's taught to us in school or anything. So again, those are kind of things that we are struggling with internally, is our fears of being perceived a different way, or thinking that because we were raised in a certain culture in a different way, that asking for help is a weakness and not a sign of a strength. And we have to figure things out on our own. So, a huge thing is fear of failure or fear of loss of control. So I run into that a lot, where people are think that if they ask somebody for help, that it's not okay to do so. Is one of the challenges that I find with coaching. And then the other thing is that there's people will reach out to you, but then they'll be scared to take that leap. So they'll recognize that they need help, but then they're afraid to make that leap, kind of leave their comfort zone. And actually, I can use myself as an example, because it wasn't too long ago that I was working on a new marketing scheme, and I knew that if it worked out, it would take me to a different level. But at the same time, I wanted to go to that different level, but I was really uncomfortable to leave where I was at. So, even when you get to, places where yourself that why that's happening and how to overcome it, it still happens. So, the fear never the things that you deal with internally kind of never go away. You just learn how to recognize them and manage them. And that's what I've run into in regards to resistance to coaching.
Yes. So thank you so much for telling the difference and the importance of the misconceptions, because those misconceptions are better when they are kept aside.
Hmm.
Let's speak about the ways of reaching out to you now, Anjali. Tell us about your website, your email, or anything that is relevant for us, for our audience to reach out to you.
Yeah, so my company is actually called Oversight Global. So Oversight, Oversight, and then global.com. global. And so our web address is www.oversightglobal.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn and YouTube. We also have a YouTube channel, and everything is just Oversight Global. So our Facebook handle is Oversight Global. Instagram is Oversight Global 1356. And LinkedIn is Oversight Global, and YouTube is Oversight Global. So definitely connect with us and follow us there. We have some wonderful resources on our YouTube channel. We do audio tracks as well as short videos, weekly long videos. And we actually have some new series coming out. We have a series called Lifestyles, which actually documents and kind of shows you my journey here in Bali, Indonesia. And then we also have a Be Reels series, which is kind of me, getting away from the cameras and the backgrounds and things like that, and no scripts, no outlines, just whatever comes to mind, I talk about. So
So Oversight Global everywhere, guys. Do reach out. Final question for the day, Anjali. Now tell us about the action steps. What are the action steps you would suggest for our leaders to take to better grow by themselves and grow their team and grow their business? So what to do after listening to this conversation?
yeah, so some things that you can do for some quick wins, if you're struggling or if you're seeking to grow in your business or as a leader in the workplace, is self-awareness is the hugest, most beneficial thing that you can do for yourself. Get to know yourself. Because if you get to know yourself, there's so many benefits to doing that. When you know yourself, then it's easier for you to know others. So I always tell people that is if you don't know yourself, then you're going through life pretty meekly. So get to know yourself. There are various ways to do that. Take different types of personality tests. You can do leadership skills test, emotional intelligence test. So really just take those types of things to get to know yourself better. Even studying astrology and numerology to help to get to know yourself better. And then, just pay attention to the types of habits that you have, the types of thoughts, your thought patterns, your behaviors, especially your self-talk. When I first started to get to know myself and created self-awareness for myself, I always thought I was a pretty upbeat and positive person. And what I discovered with my self-talk really shocked me. So you never know. So start paying attention to, what you say to yourself, especially when things aren't going right or you're experiencing some negative things like having a hard day, things like that. Because most of the time you will find out when you start to get to know yourself is that you are your biggest enemy. You are actually holding yourself back. It's not anything externally. Again, when you see things from a different perspective, you'll start to realize that your external challenges are actually stemming from your internal ones. So that's probably my biggest one, is to start to get to know yourself, create that awareness and consciousness for yourself, and then practice gratitude. It is the simplest thing that you can do. It doesn't take very long. It just takes a couple of seconds to be grateful for your glass of water, to be grateful for your laptop, to be grateful that you woke up this morning, to be grateful that you're breathing. It doesn't take any time at all. You don't need to learn how to do it from anybody. And the effects of practicing gratitude are instantaneous. It puts you in a higher frequency of energy. It puts you in a better mood. It puts you in a better mindset. So really get in the habit of, just start being grateful for small things and do it often throughout your day. You will start to realize just how big of an instantaneous shift in your attitude and in your mindset it actually creates. So those are the two things that I would want your audience to walk away with today: is start creating self-awareness and start practicing gratitude.
There you have it, guys. Start practicing gratitude and be more self aware, and that might lead you to a higher vibration. And slowly, you will find more such intuitions to lead you towards more success and better life. So, Anjali, thank you so much for making our day. It was a wonderful conversation that I was able to have with you today, and it was an honor to host you. So thank you.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
And thank you again. I am your host, Kiran Agrahar, signing off for the day. You guys take care. Bye, guys.